Hello everybody, my name is Elena. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Please excuse this, okay? I'm going through it right now. But anyways, I already started reading for this video because it's like a reading challenge type of thing, and I realized I forgot to intro the actual video so you wouldn't know what I'm talking about or what I'm doing. So this is me doing that. Today I'm letting, well, not today, probably for the whole month, let's be realistic. I'm letting my best friends pick the books that I read. So if just a little bit of lore, if you didn't know, if you've been on the channel before, you probably know, but just in case, we are a friend group of 4 besties, 4 girls. I'm not going to be using their actual names for privacy reasons, but we're going to call them Dee, Mouse, and Janet. Those are the names they picked for themselves, so don't ask me what they mean. We're just going to roll with it. I let each of them pick a book for me to read from my physical TBR, but I put like only certain books on it. Like I didn't put Lord of the Rings on it or stuff like that because I know those books are going to take me a really long time to read and I kind of want to read them in my own time, but I did only let them pick from my physical TBR because I want to read from my physical TBR. I let each of them pick a book and then I let them pick like a book together, the one that they decide on together. So we're going to be reading 4 books. I'm gonna go through what they picked. So Dee usually reads manga, manhwa, comics, that type of vibe. So she picked Turtles All the Way Down by John Green because she also recently read it and she really enjoyed it. And so she picked this for me to read. I knew this was coming. The second that I put this book on there, I was like, Dee's gonna choose this one, and she did. I was not mad about this because it's a pretty short book, and I mean, spoiler alert, but I already read it. I'm gonna talk about it in a second, but she did pick this one for me to read. And then we have Janet. Janet isn't a big reader, but she does like thriller. She's recently gotten into YA fantasy. She really liked the Caraval series, which we all know I didn't. So I gave her the book. It was great. It was a fun time. That book now has a home instead of, you know, catching dust on my shelf. So I was pretty surprised when she picked This Woven Kingdom by Tahereh Mafi. And then I was a bit mad that she picked this one because, like, look at how big it is. Also, this is not that big. It's the fact that the writing is very different from Shatter Me, and it's a bit more complicated because I think I've read the first page before just to see what it's like, and I've been like, oh. So I was a bit worried when she picked this. And then she said, I picked it because I know it's been on your TBR for a while. And that was the cutest thing I've ever heard in my life, because why is she taking care of my TBR for me? That is so cute. And if you've watched my TBR video for June, I almost picked this and then I was like, I don't think I want to do it. Guess I'm doing it. Guess I'm doing it. I do have this on audiobook, so I think I'll be okay. I also might read it physically though, because I don't know, the writing isn't that like dense in the sense that it's like nicely formatted, but we'll see. This is what Janet picked. Mouse reads a lot of classics, darker books, a lot of books with complicated characters or unlikable characters, unreliable narrators, stuff like that. And I did put a classic on my list of books that they should choose from, and it was Call of the Wild. I was expecting her to pick that one just because it was a classic, and she didn't, and she picked The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. I'm kind of surprised by this, but also when I think about it, I'm kind of not. This has a very interesting premise because the male love interest in this book is dead, or not yet dead, but she kind of sees him like he's dead, or she sees the ghost version of him, but they haven't met in real life. Listen, I don't actually know fully what this book is about, and I've read the back of it so many times, but it sounds really interesting. Also, it's really short. Also, very floppy. This is probably going to be my next read because, like I said, I already read one of the books. Oops. But this is what Mouse picked. And then for their joint book that they picked together, I actually don't have it right now, but it is ordered and it'll arrive in June. The second that it arrives, I will be reading it because I'm so excited about it. Listen, they originally together picked Everything I Know About Love. I don't know why I put it on my list, because I knew I wanted to take my time reading that book, but I still put it on there kind of shooting myself in the foot for no reason. And then they did pick that one, and I was like, hey, can I beg you to pick a different book? Can I please beg you to pick something else? And they were very much like, fine, I guess we'll do that. So they did. Thank you so much. They're gonna be watching this video, and I'm very thankful that you listened. Thank you. They picked Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. I love Cassandra Clare. I think if you've been on my channel, you will know that I adore Cassandra Clare. And this is like a new series for her. It's not young adult, it's new adult, I think, or adult or something like that. Which is kind of different from everything else she's written. Like the Shadowhunter Chronicles are very YA and stuff like that. And I don't own it with me, but I did order it from Awesome Books, and I got it 50% off because I got it used, and it's a hardcover. So instead of paying like 20 euros for it, I paid 9, which is amazing. So I can't wait for it to come into my life so I can hold it and read it, and I will try to get through these books before that one arrives. So like I said, I already read Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I finished it yesterday. I listened to the audiobook just because I wanted to do a Sims build. So I was like, I need an audiobook, and I listened to this. This is, if you don't know, about this girl named Aza, and she has OCD and anxiety, and her best friend is named Daisy, and there's a little, like, kind of like a murder mystery going on in their little town. There's this guy called Davis that Aza used to know, like back when she was very little. His dad is missing, and they're like kind of a rich family, so people keep talking about it and stuff like that. And then Daisy, her best friend, she's like, oh my god, let's investigate, because like there's you get money if you find information about the guy or help the investigation or whatever. So they decide to do it. So it does have a subplot of romance between Aza and Davis. That was obvious from the back. Also, I've read John Green before, so I knew it was gonna happen. I do love John Green's writing, and that this book was no exception. Like, his writing is really good. I really enjoy it. The thing that I didn't really enjoy is the fact that I thought this was going to be more focused on the murder mystery side of things, and it wasn't. And that was, I don't want to say upsetting, but it was kind of like, it wasn't really even a murder mystery. Like, we talk about it a little bit in the beginning, and then we focus on something entirely different, and then a little bit of it at the end comes back again. I did not realize this had so much OCD representation in it, which I'm not complaining about. I am a psychology student, so obviously that stuff like interests me. I just thought it was more focused on anxiety, and it was more focused on the OCD, and the way that OCD is described in this book actually like gives me, I don't want to say like creeps me out, but it's so well written that you're like really empathizing with Aza. And in some moments I caught myself getting annoyed at her for the thoughts that she was having, and then immediately I was like, you can't do that. Like, the girl is struggling, like, you can't do that. And I think it's a very human response to be like annoyed as someone who doesn't go through OCD the way that Aza does, or I don't think in any capacity as far as I know. So I think that was a normal response, but also a response that Daisy was having kind of in the book, but just like way like amplified, and I kind of didn't like that. I kind of didn't like Daisy is what I'm trying to say. I don't know, she was a bit annoying. But yeah, I did like this book. I liked the writing. The romance also didn't really kind of go anywhere. It was just there. It was great. It was fun. I just don't think John Green's that good at writing romance. But I mean, this is the only man that I trust to write women, so do with that what you will. I did enjoy this. I gave it 4 stars. It did almost make me cry at the end. But yeah, I thought it had very nice discussions on OCD, and I think the representation is really good. So if you want to read this, I would recommend it. I don't know if I would recommend it if you do have OCD, just because of the way that it's explained, because you are in Aza's head. I feel like it almost might be triggering. So I guess you decide for yourself if you want to read this or not. It's very heavy on the OCD. So if it's going to trigger your OCD or make you go through like a funk or something, maybe don't pick it up. But if you're interested and you want to give it a try, you could. Because I will say, as the book goes along, the OCD gets worse and worse until it kind of culminates. So you could try and start reading it and see if you like it. Just keep in mind that it will get worse as the book goes along. So those are my thoughts on this book. Very glad that Dee made me read this. I was gonna read it anyways pretty soon, but maybe not quite as soon as I did. So that is the first book done. And I have a hefty TBR to get through this month, so you better hope that I get through these quickly. Me having like my makeup done and ready and my hair done and then just wearing a sleep shirt is really setting the tone for this video. Listen, I have to film a wrap up, but I haven't picked an outfit yet, so deal with it. Anyways, I'm here to update because I did start reading This Woven Kingdom by Tahereh Mafi. I started this on audiobook while I was playing The Sims. Listen, every time I read an audiobook, I'm probably playing The Sims, so I'm just gonna not even mention it at this point. So I started it on audiobook, and I got, I think, 2 or 3 chapters in. I just absolutely lied to you because I did not start it playing The Sims. I started it when I was waxing my legs and I needed entertainment. Yeah, okay, that's what I did. I don't know why it was important to you to know when I started listening to it, but I mean, there you go. I was waxing my legs. I think I got like 2 chapters in, and it was so good right off the bat. I was like, hold on, I want to annotate this. So I won't be listening to the audiobook. I continued reading from the paperback yesterday. It did take me a while to pick it back up. I just hit my table. I'm so sorry if you were shaky for a second. I genuinely love it, and I want to thank Janet for making me read this because this was her pick, and her reasoning behind it was that I've had it on my TBR for a while, and thank you so much for doing this because I primarily hadn't picked this book up because I was scared of the writing. I thought it would be a bit more complicated than usual because I had read Shatter Me and I loved it, but I thought this was like written different, and it definitely is. And I will say, if you picked up Shatter Me and you didn't like it, I still say pick this one up because the writing is like wildly different. Like objectively, this has better writing. Even though I adore Shatter Me, the writing in here is just better. So I am 84 pages in, and I have a little tab, not a little tab, but like a little sticky note with a prediction that I have for this book. We'll see if it actually happens or not, but I just wanted to say that I'm really enjoying this and I love it, and I shouldn't have been scared of the writing because it's honestly a joy to read, and it's funny because I was like choosing the tabs that I was going to use in the book, and I was like, should I even have a tab for funny? Yes, because it is really funny. These are my tabs, in case anyone was wondering. I tried really hard to match them to the cover. I don't know how well that's going, but I mean, it looks okay for now. But that's my update. Did I say how far in I am? I'm 84 pages in. I think I did. Whatever. That was my update. I'm probably gonna read more later, but I need to film my wrap up and actually put on a different shirt and not the shirt that I sleep in. Okay, I'll see you later. I don't know when I last filmed an update for this vlog, but I did finish This Woven Kingdom by Tahereh Mafi. As you can see from the tabs, I loved this book. I really enjoyed it. I think I read it mostly on my Kindle. I did read like 80 pages maybe of it like physically, and then I was like, you know what, I just kind of want to read it on my Kindle. So I did read it on my Kindle, but I added all of my annotations in and stuff, and I absolutely adored this book, and I really need to talk about it. I will talk about it more in depth, I feel like, in the wrap-up, but just want to get my overall thoughts out there. I gave this 4.5 stars, and I'm so glad that my friend made me read this because why was it taking me so long? The writing is not as complicated as I thought it would be. It's actually like really readable. It's really beautiful. That's like the one thing that gripped me about this book, and also the characters. I adore the characters. They're really well, I don't want to say they're very well fleshed out because it is the first book and it's going to be a 5-book series, so there's definitely going to be growth and changes. But where they are now is such a good point to be at, and they were very well established, and I got attached to them immediately. Like, I just... Tahereh Mafi, she has... This girl has yet to let me down, okay? I really liked the writing and the characters, and the setting of this book is beautiful. I don't think I've ever read anything with like jinns and that kind of mythology. It is inspired by some kind of mythology. I keep forgetting though. This is so interesting. I love hearing about it, and the way that like the history of this world and these characters and these people is woven into the story is actually like really nice to read about, because it's not info dumped. Like, it's perfectly spread out throughout the whole book, and I really liked it. It does end on a cliffhanger. So thankfully I did buy the second book as soon as I figured out that I would be loving this, which of course I did. That's really what I wanted to say. Kamran, which is like the male main character, and I'm guessing the love interest, I love him. He is so hot. Let me set the scene for you, okay? They're in her tiny little room, and she's holding a knife to his throat from behind. This is what it says. Was it terrible that his heart pounded in his chest at the soft sound of her voice? Was it worrisome that he felt nothing but pleasure to be held at her mercy? Yeah, I love this book. Go read it, okay? And don't be scared of the writing, because it's really nothing scary. It's just beautiful and a delight to read. I don't know what the next book I'm gonna read is going to be. I mean, I say that, but like I really don't have a choice, because Swordcatcher hasn't arrived yet by Cassandra Clare, and the only other one that I have is The Dead Romantics, which is also my book club book. I have a little book club going on with my friend, and we picked The Dead Romantics for this month, so I guess I'll be reading that next for the video, but not right now. I'm gonna read something else from my TBR, but this is really good. It's probably been like a month since I last updated this video. I got into a reading slump, and then I didn't want to read anything, but I'm kind of back, kind of. Or at least I'm on my way to being okay. Mouse picked The Dead Romantics for me to read, and I started it yesterday, and I started it for a different video. I don't know which one's gonna go up first. If the other video is already up, I'll link it. If not, I don't know what to tell you. You're just gonna have to wait for that to be uploaded next or something. I started The Dead Romantics. I got 140 pages in, which is about this much, so like almost halfway through, and I kind of hate it. I'm really disappointed that I hate it, because the writing is actually really nice. I think the only reason why it's not hitting is because I'm not connected to the characters. I don't care about any of the characters. I don't care about the romance. I don't find the characters interesting. The writing is trying to make me feel something for the characters, but I don't care about them, so it's not hitting the way that it is. I feel like if I were connected to the characters, the writing would hit so hard, and it would be so good, but I'm just not. And the only single tab that I have is like right at the beginning, and it's because I think I liked this quote, and then I realized that I didn't actually like the quote. It just reminded me of the beginning of The Dream Thieves by Maggie Stiefvater, because it's along the same lines. Like, it talks about secrets, and I feel like that one's done better, but like I'm not comparing the two books. That's not what this is about. I'm just saying, like, the one tab that I have isn't even because I liked something from the book. It's because it reminded me of a different book that I love. It's safe to say that I'm DNFing this. Okay, I'm choosing peace. I'm already trying to get out of a reading slump. The last thing I need to do is torture myself and make myself read this any longer. Maybe at some point I'll come back to it. I don't know. I was kind of interested to see how it would go and how it would resolve like the story, because the love interest is literally dead, so like I wanted to know what would happen, but honestly I lost interest in that too. And also the pacing is really off, because every time something interesting happens, the scene ends and it's not explored at all, and I'm like, what are we doing, you know? So I'm DNFing this, and when Swordcatcher finally arrives, then I'll read that, because that's their group pick, and then hopefully this video will be finished, and then I can edit it and upload it, because it's been like a 2-month journey at this point.